Hi everyone, I welcome you to this presentation on sequential starting of 4 three-phase induction motors. So in this presentation, we shall look at the following components. We are going to use one start push button as well as one stop push button. We are going to use one 4-pole circuit breaker. We shall use 4 contactors, which I'm naming contactor A, contactor B, all the way up to D. Okay, so those are the 4 contactors we'll use. And then we're going to use 4 overload, which we use for overcurrent protection. We're also going to use 4 three-phase motors, and we are going to use cables, 1.5 cables for our control circuit, 2.5 for the power circuit. So we use red, yellow, blue for the first sequence, and black, which I'll use for the neutral. Okay, so on the sequential starting of the 4 three-phase induction motor, we're going to look at those circuits, the control as well as the power circuit. Our wiring will be done from here. Okay, so I'm running 3 cables from supply, given the breaker, that's the breaker. Output of that breaker, I'm given a contactor which I'm naming contactor A. So that's a contactor A. Then the output of that contactor, I'm feeding a protective device, which is the circuit breaker. The overload. This is the overload which is protecting our motor. So this is our motor connected there. We have that one. But now I'm not running just this motor. We are running 4 three-phase induction motor. So this is just one of them. So we need 3 more contactors to run the remaining motors. So I will do the same. Tapping from the output of the breaker, given these other contactors, then the outputs there, so on our wiring there, then the outputs there, I'll give their respective overloads. Then the output of the overloads there, I'm giving the remaining motors, which are those. Okay, so these are the 4 three-phase induction motors which we are running. So this is the power circuit. We go to the control circuit. On our control circuit, we've got a live coming from supply, giving a breaker. Output of the breaker there, so a breaker we already have here. Output of that breaker, it's giving a button which is 1, 2. This is a stop push button. So from there we give one of the stop push button. At the same point, that same output is also feeding those terminals, the 1314 for A, 1314 for B, as well as 1314 for C. So this is what we have there. The output there is giving 13 for A, it's giving 13 for B, 13 for C, as well as 13 for D there. No, 13 for A, 13 for B, and 13 for C. Okay, then we've got the output for A. So output for A, output for B, and output for C. These are feeding A1 for B, A1 for C, as well as A1 for D. So these are the ones we are having. That's 14 there is giving A1 for B. The 14 here, which is that one, is giving A1 for C. 14 there is giving A1 for D. And then there are A2s we are supposed to connect our neutral there. We are connecting a black cable from A2 to 95 of their respective overloads. So we've got 95 for overload connected to B, 95 for overload connected to C, and 95 overload connected to D. So we run those cables. So I've run from 95 there to A2 for B, another one 95 here, A2 for C, and 95 there, A2 for D. And then we have from 2 of the stop push button, we are giving 3 of the start push button. So that's the one we have there. 2, we give 3 for the start push button. And then either from 2 or 3, we give, because we had given the 13 and 14 for these others, D wasn't given. So the D, 13 of D is getting from either 2 or 3. So from 2 or 3, which is that one, we give the 13 there for D. And then the output, which is the 14, it's going to 4, which is that one there, as well as the same terminal, either from 14 or 4, you are giving A1 for A. So that's the one we have there. And then the A2 for A, is given that. So you have the neutral, which is given the 95 and 96 for the overload connected to A, which is this one neutral. That's the one we've put there. Okay, and then those lives, this live connection we have there from 14, either 4 or A1, it's given 14. This is the one we have here, 14. It has gone to 4 there. Okay, at the same point, this should be connected to A1 of A, because our A1 for A hasn't been given. So we have that cable there. So from that point, it's given A1 of contactor A. And then these overloads haven't been given supply, neutral supply. So we have supply from there, given the 96 for the respective overloads. Okay, once this is done, then we are done with wiring both the control, power, as well as the wiring diagram for sequential starting of a 3-phase induction motor. Thank you so much.